All right, everybody. We're going to try this again. Maybe you'll hear me this time. I tried a little live a while ago and didn't have any sound, but I think I got my microphone working now. So we'll wait for somebody to come in here and we'll see if we still got it going or not. But what I'm basically doing is I've got some new equipment in here to actually help a little bit with the live stream. I hope as far as being able to switch from one thing to another and that kind of stuff. So we'll see how this goes. But what I'm okay, good. I'm glad because it took me a minute to figure it out. But anyway, what I've got here is basically I've got a camera in front of me, which you guys see right now, and I have bought some equipment to take and make it a little bit easier. And the thing is I've got what they call a stream deck here. So let me switch over to the camera behind me, and then I'll scoot out of the way a little bit. So what we have here is basically I have two screens now. Okay. And the one on the right is the StreamYard that you guys hear about a lot of the times. The one over here, that little section there, that's the OBS. And basically what it does is it allows me to set up 3 or 4 cameras, which I'll show you in a minute. And then you'll see to the right of that, there's some light burn. It's in there as well. So what I'm able to do, if you can see over my shoulder here, is you can see here, you're looking at the back of my head right now. So if I want to change the camera with this stream deck, basically just hit the button and it switches over. So let's say I want to go and run my CO2 while I'm doing a live or a video or something like that. I can do that right there. That goes into my CO2 over here, and you can see that as well. Now, one other thing that I have set up on this right now is, let me go to the other, let's go to camera 2 here in a minute. So you see this camera here, and then I'll show you where the other camera is here in a minute. But if you look right up above there, you see that big white thing, and that's a light to kind of add some color to, to this face. So I can turn it on and off as well. And you can set up other items to go on inside here. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now. Now, you can see over my left shoulder is the other camera. And what I want to do with it, so I want to bring it in here to kind of give you an idea of one other thing. Oh. Let's see if we can get it set up right quick. And we'll go to camera 2. All right. So sometimes you guys ask questions about, how certain things work and things like that. So here is the comments that we have. Okay. And so I can take trade skillers here and I can actually go on here and show it. And it comes up on the screen, and then I have to go back and turn it back off. Now, you've also seen, yes, they're all connected via USB right now. Now, the one thing that I will warn you about ahead of time, the cameras that I have, when I put them on a USB hub, one would cancel the other out. So you don't necessarily want to put them both on the same USB hub, or at least not the one that I have. And but both of these are 1080p cameras, and so it was canceling each other out. But one of the other things is I can show the next one down here is actually the banners. So you can have banners that run across. Let's see, we'll use this one right here. So there's where my banner comes on and off. So you control all these different things. So sometimes when you see people doing these lives and things like that, and they seem like they stop or not paying attention, and it's not really that. There's a lot goes on behind the scenes over here, and you can have some widgets that'll come up. I can also do this. There's right here is a teleprompter. I know it's not real easy to see, but over here there's a teleprompter, and I can put any kind of information that I may want to ask or try to remember. Then I can also look into the stage to see who all is here. So if I had 10 or 12 people, I could switch in and out. You've heard sometimes I'm talking about private chat. Private chat's down here as well, and then I can do some recording on top of that. So that's kind of how it all goes. Is the USB 3 hub? Yes, it is a USB 3. But like I said, I'm not quite sure why. I may have had too many things plugged into it. Lots of stuff. A lot of stuff you can do. Yeah, yeah. Well, I like StreamYard right now. It is kind of expensive for what you're doing, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I have found an alternative yet. There may be one out there. I know Jeremy and from HTL Customs, he had tried to do a little bit of Restream, and he didn't have much luck with it. And everybody I've heard so far basically come back to StreamYard. So that's what I end up using most of the time. But that's a basic layout. Now, for example, if somebody else come in here, this is the camera looking at me or looking at the screen right now. If somebody else comes in here, they will pop up right here. That's where we bring them in and out. And then over here, I can set up scenes like my intro and outro for the lives. That's over here. And basically, when I hit the start to begin with, it'll play the start. And then when I get ready to done, it'll click over. Hey, Vincent, how are you today? 6'7", huh? How about 8'9"? 8'9" maybe. So, but this is how I've got this set up. Now, like I said, I've got this set up for the StreamYard itself. Then if I switch over here, let me get this squared away right quick. Get it down here where you can see a little bit. So this is the OSB or the OBS, and all it does is you can just barely see it over here, but I've got 4 different things set up right now. I've got that camera, like I said, on my Stream Deck. I can take and do that, and if you can see here in just a second, it moves that up and down in that blue over there to show you where it's going. And so that's all set up. It also, you have to make sure when you do a live that you come over here and do this, but then you've got to make sure you start with a virtual camera. That transfers it over to the StreamYard. OBS sucks. Well, what's your other option there, Rich? Because that's the only one I know about right now. If there's a better one out there, I'm more than glad to try. So, Miss Anna Allen, how are you today? You did an interview with Jason Bent, Drew Fisher, and others, and it was useful for that. Had someone help you shepherd behind the scenes. I'm always looking for something new to try and something different. So, any suggestions that you guys have, because you guys have done it a lot longer, especially Rich. I don't know how many years Rich has been doing it now, but he's got a lot more experience than I do right now. So, like I said, this is what I'm setting up right now. I've got the 2 screens. I just got those the other day and got them set up. And if you weren't here a little while ago, I had a major issue with my volume. I couldn't actually, nobody could actually hear me. So we ended up having to fix that. I had to restart, but I'm hoping this kind of starts to work for me a little bit. So, but like I said, hey, Crafton, how are you today? So I actually sent you an email a little while ago, Dwayne. So if you could look and make sure you got it. But like I said, and get a switcher. Are you talking about the Stream Deck? Because I've got the Stream Deck right now, and basically what I'm using it for. I'll flip back over to the other camera, and I'll back this back out of here. So there's my Stream Deck right there, and what I've got it basically doing for the time being is going through the different cameras. I've got it set up inside my CO2 right now. I've got it also where I can do, right now it's doing light burn, but that's the only things I've got right at this point. So is that what you're talking about, Rich? Yeah, I thought it would be interesting to see that, because a lot of times you'll see somebody, and I do it just as much as anybody else. You'll see them and we're doing this. We're looking, because there's all the different things that you can see. And we'll flip it back over for some of you that's come in a little late. So this, right here, this is the actual StreamYard that we use, okay? And you've got several different things over here. So if I wanted, if I start up and I want to show the comments on the screen. Go right here. Now we've got comments that are actually on the screen itself. Okay. So you can turn those on and off. You can take and, well, let's, you know, I sound very interested in seeing the backside of the lives. This is how we show whatever's going on in the chat itself when we see something. Now, that's something else that you need to understand too. You hear a lot of people at Rich and Clack and Venturi and people like that. They get on here and it's hard to read every one of these that's going on because you guys are talking to each other. You're talking to the one that's in the live or whatever. So there's a lot going on. And like I said, you see a lot of times you'll see people taking and looking. So for example, if I wanted to turn the banner back on, now I'm going to turn my banner back on, and I've got to take that time to do that. Now what happens is when I turn that banner on, it covers up the comments. If I'm not looking here on the screen where I have them set up now, I don't know what you said over here. So then I have to consciously tell myself to come back over here and do this over here as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces in this. And, you know, if Rich or somebody has a better way, then please let me know. Because this is as far as I've got so far. But is anybody working on anything this evening? I'm just trying to get ready for the next live Monday night. And our special guest is actually on with us right now. So we're gonna have a lot of fun because not only are we gonna talk about crafting and his rise up through to be a maker, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Santa side as well. Santa. Okay. All right. I see what you're saying. Okay, Dwayne. Appreciate it. So, but so then we've got several others, and I'll be honest with you. I've got one, and it's not till November that I am I'll be honest, I'm kind of shocked that I got a response back, but I did get a response back. This guy is really a jack of a lot of trades, but he does a lot of metal work and stuff like that. So hopefully it's going to be pretty good time we can get it all said and done. But if all works out, I've got one that I don't know if everybody knows him, and we'll wait till we get a little closer to November to reveal that, but I'm looking forward to that one. But all of these have been fun so far. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? So Jeremy, what I was doing is just basically showing them the behind the scenes of what we end up having to do in order to make a live, and that I'm set up got my switcher now with my OBS and that kind of thing. And Rich had said a minute ago that he didn't like the OBS. Now, my question is, if Rich is still in here, since you said to have a switcher, I'm assuming you were talking about the the Stream Deck. If you weren't, explain to me how that works right quick, because I'm not quite sure if that's what you were talking about or not. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of. I hope we're gonna have a good time. So, but like I said, I'm not gonna stay on here very long. I already did. Okay, so let me look back up through here. Save yourself a head so I can get a switcher. Okay. So so Jeremy, you said that it's the box, which let me switch back over. Oh, and we'll pull this back out here. So that right there works several of these, and it switches from one to the other, but I don't have any ports on the back. Oh, you have a good weekend too. We'll talk to you on Monday. Hardware switcher is the best thing to use. You can use it in conjunction with your Stream Deck. Okay. All right. I need to look into that then. So that eliminates the OBS at that point, and you just go through that hardware switcher. Okay. Interesting. It's amazing what you can learn. And you have a lot more experience in electronics than I do. Sometimes I'm just dangerous enough. So, but like I said, it's interesting to set one of these up. And so the other thing is, let's switch over to. So there's that. Then I make that full screen. So over here, I've got, because I have the two screens now. Oh, wrong one. Oh, I won't go back over there because I've got it covered up because it's using Lightburn. But yeah, there it goes. So you can now see I've got Lightburn fully open right here. So I can work with whatever over here. And then come back over here and you can see it as soon as I do this. All right, so now I'm going to add that to the screen. So all your comments start showing up. Okay. And so you've got a link to Amazon here. Okay. I'll check that out in a little bit to see what exactly you're showing about. And maybe I'll talk about it the next time. But back to just showing you guys, and several of the people already know what I'm showing anyway, but so a couple of you don't. So this was just a quick, we're behind the scenes of what we're doing when you see us doing all the moving around and that kind of stuff. And, it looks like we've got some good information already. You maybe not need OBS. So that's, hey, Rick, how are you today? So Rick 2 Cents is in the house, but does anybody else have a different setup? I think Clack has like 2 or 3 screens that he's got set up. And this was just this being a 10 by 16, I had to get the building or the desk just big enough for these and had to get the curved monitors. But well, we appreciate you coming in there. So we're talking a little bit about how you do a live and being behind the scenes here. A live stream lately. So apparently you're not the only one, Jeremy. I mean, Rich. Jeremy's saying that he had comments deleted or not sent, and as well, he didn't know what was going on. The one thing that I will say is I've seen if I'm watching it on TV, is they're sneaking commercials in every once in a while. So you're right in the middle of either talking to somebody on the chat or you're whatever's going on that they're showing, and all of a sudden it goes away. Using OBS uses a lot of system resources. It drops the quality of your stream. Using hardware gives you the better quality. Okay. All right. Well, I'll definitely look up the Amazon link that you sent just a few minutes ago and see what we can find there. But as far as that's funny you said that, Rich, because the one thing I did have is I have 2 Elgatos. You can see the one that's basically right there, and then the one that's behind me, and they're only 1080p, but I put them into a USB hub, and it would kick one off because it couldn't deal with both of them at the same time. And Rick said he's heard about YouTube doing that because they're trying to get YouTube premium features. Okay. So, well, it looks like we're all having to go through the same pains, I guess you could say. But like I said, this is what I'll be on episode 6 coming up Monday. And so I've come a lot because I had a small desk to begin with. I had a single monitor and those kind of things, but I'm not used to that Stream Deck yet, so I keep reaching for the mouse first. But it's interesting to see how these are done, and it's even more interesting to hear how you guys are doing it. But if you've got any better ideas, let me go. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, they're both plugged into the computer now because it took me about 2 days to figure out what was going on because I would turn one on and then to begin with, when I would turn that one off and turn the one behind me on, it would just totally go away and I would just have a blank screen. And so I didn't know what was going on at that point. So it took me about 2 days, somewhere in there, to finally figure out if I took them both out of the USB hub that I had and put them directly into the computer. So now what I've got to do is I had all my lasers and everything hooked directly into the computer. So now I'm going to have to, remember which ones are which and that kind of thing to kind of help out. So, well, Rich, who's going to read the owner's manual? We ain't got time for that. We got lives to do. So, but you're probably right. I'll go back and read it later. Maybe I'll send you that page as soon as I find it. So. Well, I do have a powered hub. I've actually got how many is it? I've got one of these, the ESWCs, and this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got 7 USBs, and then it's got 5 more, power ports basically. So it was probably partly because I had too much plugged into it, but also both of the cameras, as Rich just said a minute ago, they have to have a dedicated USB on the computer itself. So it has to go directly through the computer. It can't go through anything else. So, but they're both Elgato's. They're the face cams, and I really like them so far. And the microphone over here, it's an Elgato as well. So they've worked well for me. I've not had any issues once I've got both of them. So, yeah. Any other comments or suggestions that you guys might have at this point? Because like I said, I'm definitely going to look about some hardware, but I will say this too: when you can't use it without right. You can't use the powered hub with Elgato cameras, but you can get a Elgato Stream Deck with a built-in hub. Yeah, I've just got the. I think I can run 24. I think I can run total commands on this little Stream Deck, and it's just the little buttons itself. So. Is that a Ryobi behind you, the one that works underwater? No, I don't even know what that one is. That's a Bissell. So that's how I keep it so clean compared to what Steve keeps saying from Steve Makes Everything. He thinks I have the cleanest shop. So, and most of you guys and gals probably know I got a CNC, which I've got finally set up, put together. And so I'm waiting on a piece or two because I did not know, and I could have probably watched another video or two and found it out, but I assumed that when it sent the spindle that it would have the dust boot with it. Well, it didn't. So I've got a dust boot coming and that kind of thing. But you thought Elgato was the maker of the Stream Deck? And you can run. Yeah, I could. Yeah, and that's what I was setting up too. And I decided just to jump on here and kind of show how a live works. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 7 of the buttons for the first section of profiles. So, and then the other 2 still have stuff in them. So, This will probably be all I need because no bigger than my shop is, and right now I've only got 3 machines in here, so I think it'll suffice for now. Now the other thing I do like is you can set it to, you know, if you want to run videos or if you want to watch this or whatever, you can take, you just hit the button, stop, reverse, and that kind of thing too. So it's not just for lives or anything like that. You can use it for just about any situation that you want to. So, well, guys, this was short and sweet, and it was just another chance for me to get out and actually try everything I've got set up here, which it seems like it's going to work. But I will say this. I was going to say this a minute ago and got sidetracked. But when you're doing a live and it's only you and another person, like it is with what I do on those Monday nights, I really don't need everything that I've shown you this evening. All I need is pretty much just StreamYard. Now I can use the OBS right now to switch between 2 cameras if I wanted to show something back here to explain. But other than that, pretty much it's just the 2 of us up on the screen. And let me switch it back over here. So basically, I showed you this a minute ago. Right here is where I am. And then if somebody comes in, then this is the next box here that you hit. And what actually happens is it brings them up into this box, and then I present them to the screen, and we get 2 people in here. And that's pretty much all I have to do. So Santa's the new shop done? No, and it's probably not going to be done. I finally have, Greg asked that question. I finally do have the table built and got the top put on it once I found my circular saw again. And I've got the top on it, and I do have CNC sitting on top of it and put together. But I don't know if you heard a minute ago, but I'm waiting on a piece or 2 to get here, and then I'll go ahead and flatten the board and get it trimmed and all that kind of stuff. And I hope maybe at least by next weekend to at least try to make something. So, but you can create macros for StreamYard to use in the Stream Deck. Okay. So that can control this as well. Okay. So now somebody asked a minute ago, Rich, somebody said that they thought, where was it? Hold on a minute. Yeah. He thought Elgato was the maker of the Stream Deck, and I believe that's correct. Is it not? Because I can't remember where I ordered it from. So. Yeah, I think that would have been helpful a little while ago, because I know Trade Skillers, he saw it first, and I was talking to nobody, so he could see the video and all, but he couldn't hear me because the mic had actually got muted somehow. And so yeah, it's not a bad idea to restart. So I'm gonna have to remember to do that. Yeah, it is. So, but. So anybody who's not done live got any questions before we wrap this up? Yeah, and I've only moved it up here because I was showing it off a while ago, so I can put it back down here out of the way and get it out. But I can move it over here as well, and it seems to work well. So let's do that. So. It's sitting on the end of the desk. It's on an arm, so I can move it around as well. But there's the view again. And it's a game that you have to learn. And everybody who's got experience, Rich and Jeremy and Rick and the guys that are in here right now who do this a lot longer than I have, they've got it pretty well perfected. Now I know a lot of people too. They wear lavalier mics and that kind of stuff. And I've got a super cheap one I bought at Walmart when I first started all this. But I like this arm right here because right now I'm pretty much just doing the lives, and then every once in a while I will do a video. Now, most of the time, I just quit using Chat GPT, or not Chat GPT, but CapCut, because I've just downloaded DaVinci. So it's going to take a little learning to learn that DaVinci. So I'm going to have to create some kind of video, and it'll probably be maybe my first CNC to put that in there and edit it out and start working with it to understand how that goes. And my understanding is because of DaVinci and how it's used by so many people, not only in here, but in, film and other things like that, that there's a bit of a learning curve, but it's 10 times better. So, well, that's not necessarily true there, Greg. You could attempt anything like this, and it's all trial and error. But the thing is you, like tonight's a perfect example. We'll go back over to and I know we keep just switching back and forth between the front of my head and the back of my head, but I've got the two monitors now, and like I said, I've got OBS over here, I've got StreamYard on this side, I've got my Stream Deck down here, and I've got my microphone. But I learned today through Rich that if I have a hardware, I don't need this over here. So it's those kind of things that you're going to have to work your way through in order to get better. And none of us, anybody that's in here, is expert on this. We've all learned, and we all keep going through it. So, hey, Jack, I didn't know I was going to go live either, but I set this up and was showing how the actual live is done. I wanted people to kind of see behind the scenes when you're searching for something, or when you turn the banners on and off, and you're right in the middle of a thought, and you stop, and you're like, well, what's wrong with the person there? And it's not that there's a problem. They're doing something here. So, yeah, that's exactly one of the reasons that I did it. Now I'll ask this, because I know you use it, and then Jack even uses it, I think. So what's the difference between what a pro would use and what you get with the free? I mean, I'm sure there's quality and editing things and stuff like that, but is there anything else that would be beneficial if we had it versus? I'm not going to buy it either way, but was just wondering if there's anything that's more beneficial with that pro version. Yeah, we're always learning. Yeah, so the networking. Yeah, so being able to. And I'm assuming you can have a lot more cameras and all that kind of stuff going at the same time as well. So, but yeah, going back to what Rick said a minute ago, it's the minute we quit learning that we need to get out of to doing this, because we never quit learning. I'm 26 years into engineering now, civil engineering, and the thing that I'll say this. I've got to the point where I'm getting too old to learn to a degree, because you get burnt out when you do it every day, day after day after day. But on the other side, the lasers, the 3D printer I have, the CNC I just got, yeah, that's opened a whole new world of learning for me again. And as most of you guys on here know, that my degree was in CNC programming and stuff like that. So it has reawakened me. Is the video sharp for everyone? It's blurry to me, but the text is sharp. Okay. All right. So, Jack says the free version of DaVinci has more than you'll use normally. All right. Using the studio version has more features. Hollywood pays 6 figures for networking. Well, Santa's not going to pay 6 figures to go to a live for YouTube. So, hey, Chuck. So Chuck, we were in here just showing off, and I was giving behind the scenes. We'll flip over one more time just so you can see as well. This is the setup I've been working on. Got 2 monitors now. I've got several different things running. I've got the StreamYard here, which hit the button and it'll switch to cameras and that kind of stuff. But we were also talking about, like right here, you've got the comments that you guys see. Well, if I have to go in and turn the comments off, then I have to go up here physically and turn them off, turn them back on. And sometimes when you see people stop or pause in what they're doing, that's what they're doing. They're working with these different things. So, and for example, I won't turn the banner off. If I tell the banner to hide, the one thing that you don't see, and you can look right here, this is all my banner information. my comments aren't showing unless I'm looking right here. I can't see those comments. So yeah, try. I mean, that's all you can do. Just try and just keep going with it because everybody says it, and I know I've got them now too. You'll look at your first video you ever do, and you'll be like, "Gee, I'm not sure." So, Louisiana Hobby Guys, he uses a lot of features in the studio version. Sometimes 4 monitors is a good thing. Well, when you're doing my kind of work, this is usually the setup you have anyway. You'll have two because what we usually do is we'll have one camera or one monitor that we use to do the drawings and stuff with, and then the monitor on the other side will be for any calculations you do. Pop in and out comments from the browser window. So yeah, and like I said, we're still getting all this going as we get more versed. Now, here's what I would like to see. I would like to see somebody like you, Rich, or Rick, or somebody like that do this exact same thing and show us what you possibly do that I'm doing wrong or doing differently, because that would be another learning experience for us. Where is the camera behind you? It's right here. So, and that's the other thing that you've got to the cord that's on here now. As you guys probably know, my F2's over here, but in order for me to get that camera over there, I've got this cord stretched as far as it'll possibly go. So I've got to get a longer cord to get over there and get in closer to those things behind me. So, but it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of steps, and you just buy one thing at a time and put it in and see, because this Stream Deck was the last thing that I just got. And so I've been playing with it and just setting up some of the things you can do in it. And, but anyway, so any last comments or anything before we call it? I think I've showed the back of my head enough times this evening. And so I hope I didn't blind anybody, or, maybe I need to put up a banner down at the bottom, flashing lights or whatever. So, but I appreciate the people that are coming out, and also appreciate the information, because we all learn together. And I think that's why all of us get on these lives and have everything done. Yeah. I wish, if I could just do that. So my only ability is to know what you're doing all the time, Greg. So, but we learn through talking with chat. We learn with talking with each other and watching each other's videos. So, and Greg, like I said, just go and start. You'll never get it if you don't start. That's how I've learned to live over the last 6 years since we moved down here. When we moved down here, it was one of those situations where I said, we're going to have bills regardless of where we go. If I can work from home, then maybe I'll just work from home, and was able to do that. And we were able to move. And it was all because we had vacationed all the time in the Outer Banks and just loved it down here. So if I have one piece of advice for people, just, you hear people take a lot of time about, I'm not going to have a kid till I can afford it. If you wait till you can afford it, you'll never have a child. So make it to where you can financially make it, but you can do it. So, well, Greg, all those elves are on vacation right now. The elf union has spoken, and so they're actually back at the North Pole, and they're on vacation. So, but let me ask this, Jack, since you're talking about Adobe After Effects. We had Adobe to do a lot of work with PDFs and stuff like that at my office, but it got so prohibitive we couldn't even hardly use it anymore, so we had to switch over. I'm assuming those After Effects was probably the same thing. Is that kind of what happened? Because I see you used it a lot back in the day. And if you're enjoying this or whatever, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. If you do that, that would be great as well. So, but we're after Adobe CS5, you stopped using it. Okay. So, but yeah, these software companies, they're getting more and more where, everybody's on subscriptions now. And that happened years ago with AutoCAD. AutoCAD was one of those things where you bought a perpetual license. And then after so many years, it started going that you had to buy a subscription, which they quote unquote lowered the cost when they went to subscription, because you just renewed every year. But you get used to it as well. So yeah, but the thing is though, it's going more and more to that all the time. So yeah, software is not cheap, and the thing is it's not going to get any cheaper, because the fact is that they can find all these different things, and they can do the subscriptions. Yeah, I agree. Subscriptions are a pain too, because the other thing is you got to make sure that you pay it. Not everybody does automatic pay. So yeah, Clack's here, and we didn't say his name 3 times. So if somebody will say it 2 more times right quick, we'll know we caught him up correctly. So, yeah, and the same thing with 3D printers and that kind of thing as well. So it's a double-edged sword, really. All right, so Jack has now completed it. So Clack is officially in the realm here. So he's been called up 3 times. So, but what's the alternative? They do perpetual license, then they upgrade, and then it costs you a fortune to do that. You do subscriptions, it doesn't cost you quite as much, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So, but anyway. All right. Well, I am going to get on out of here, go in and get the dogs ready, and got some other things to do. But like I said, I just wanted to come and show you from the backside, just a CNC in the shop. Yeah, right now that's all I've got in that other building is my CNC that I just put together. And like I said, I hope by next weekend to actually run something on it, because I'm waiting on those few pieces. But you got to remember, I turned that was a storage building. I turned that storage building into a partial storage building and a partial little woodworking shop. So I've moved all my woodworking stuff that I had from past over onto one side, and all my other, which is basically all my Christmas stuff, over onto the other side. And I've got to build a wall to wall that off to try to keep a little bit of sawdust out. I know some will get in there regardless, but I got to at least try to wall that off. And then once I get that done, then I've got one area. That storage building is similar to this. It's got 2 lofts in it, and up in one loft, I've got a couple of the Christmas trees. So I've got to wall that off as well before I get really deep into running a lot of CNC stuff. But that's the plan for out there. And the other thing is I ran power from the house to this shop, so I don't have any more breaker slots in my box right now. So I can't necessarily run power from the house out to that out there. So for the time being, I'll be using just some extension cords and stuff like that when I can. So I'll only be able to run basically one machine at a time. So Dreamweaver and Flash before Adobe took it over. Well, we were talking the other day, talking about AutoCAD and stuff. One of the first softwares that came out years ago for drawing was called McDraft, and it was actually an Apple type program. Now, for example, if I'm drawing 2 lines, you can draw this line, and then I can tell AutoCAD to go from this endpoint and go out wherever or whatever. Back in those days, you just had to get it close, and then you had to do a join command and all these other things. So, it was a micro meet. Yep. So, but all right, everybody. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all coming. Appreciate all the information. Like I said, we've got some good things. We're going to look into some hardware versus using the OBS. I know that's what Rich had said a while ago, and if Clack steer here real quick, do you still use OBS or do you use a hardware switcher like Rich was talking about? I'd at least like to know that as well. So, but well, I don't know if I'm on my way. I'm so I'm far from it. I've got 111 wonderful subscribers, and you know that's wonderful. And I'm not trying to do subscribers so much as I'm just trying to give a little bit of information out. So, and Jack's talking about he likes the OBS, and then Clack says you're on Streamlabs and Stream Deck. Okay. So I've got StreamYard, and I just got the Stream Deck put in today, and so is Streamlabs comparable or better than StreamYard? Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I've got my OBS up, and I'm using it through StreamYard. Yeah, yep. Hardware is the way to go. Yeah, I think I agree, because the one thing that you did say, Rich, is the having the OBS up and having the StreamYard up and that kind of thing. You've got you know, a lot of resources being used already. Streamlabs is OBS in a different wrapper. Okay, all right. Well, I didn't know that. So. And that was the one thing that, you know, and like I told you a while ago, I learned that with the two cameras to begin with, that Rich told me to read the manual and it'll tell you that. But like I said, who needs to read the manual? Just figure it out as you go. But so yeah, if I could limit some resources some, and that may be a little issue that Greg was seeing a while ago, talking about the having everything crisp as far as the text and all, but the video is a little fuzzy. So let me go back up here and see if I can find where he put that up here. And I would assume you probably just go on Amazon and hardware switcher, but I can't find it right off. Well, that's the funny part. I've got plenty of bandwidth. That's why I'm a little perplexed. So. But well, I don't know. Rich, if you're still on here, could you reshare that so I can put it up on screen so Greg can see what that hardware was? So I can't seem to find it right off. Looks like you're on Wi-Fi, not a really strong Wi-Fi. Latency kills video. Bandwidth doesn't matter with long ping. Okay. OSEG go. So there you go, Greg. Flag was going to do a video on it, but he decided to hang out with Steve. Yeah. So. And that's what I said a minute ago. I'd like to see Clack's version of, because I know, like I said, I think Clack's got maybe 3 screens or 4 screens that he's got up there versus the 2 that I have right here, and kind of see how he's got it set up versus what I'm doing. And because I looks like I need to get figure out how to get some more strength in here on this. But I tell you what I may do. I may switch over from, did I? No. Okay. Yeah, I may plug in directly into my instead of, because Clack made a point that I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so that's killing the latency. So I may switch over to the cable and actually get it come into the back of the machine and see how that works. So that'll be something that y'all can tell me on Monday if you happen to come to the live on Monday if it looks any better or not. So that'll eliminate one thing anyway. Yeah, and I'm learning that as I go. So I just got the fiber into the house, and I was hoping to be able to do that, and I don't have the cables and all that yet. So I'm still using. I've got T-Mobile as my service, and it works really well because I work from home, so I'm working on the computer back at the office from here, and it works really well for that. But these live streams is where we're getting a little bit of the issue. So live and learn. So. All right, guys, we've been almost 51 minutes now. I appreciate everybody's information. I appreciate everybody coming and sharing what's going on with what I'm trying to do here. And I hope everybody has a good evening. You guys appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this or whatever, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you've not subscribed, which I think most of you guys probably have. But I appreciate everybody coming out, and we'll see you guys either this weekend on somebody's video or Monday night if you happen to come by there. USB adapter really good for a weaker signal. Yep. So, all right, and with that, we'll call it an evening. Everybody have a good night.